Hello everyone, my name is Conrad. On behalf of CameraStuff, thank you for joining yet another episode of Limelight, where we look into the South African photographic industry and we find some interesting people to chat with. And today we are joined by talented photographer Zanele Lebaka-Tshabalala. So we found her profile on Instagram. She takes some brilliant photos. In fact, let me show you. Before we get started, our guest is waiting as we speak, but before we get into that, let me quickly show you what she is capable of. Alright, so this is the Instagram feed. As mentioned, some very, very good photos here. And as always, if you have any questions to ask our guest tonight, please do drop that in the comment section. Or if you just have any kind words of motivation, also compliments to give, please do drop that in the comment section as well. I think that will be highly appreciated. Alright, so this is Zanele's work. Some fantastic images here. And we're going to pick her brain. We're going to ask her a bunch of questions pertaining to her career, what equipment she uses, how she goes about doing photography, what her history is, etc., etc. So if you have your own questions to ask, as mentioned, do drop them in the comment section. Okay, let me get rid of this. Alright, so as far as questions and comments are concerned, there's a little box here. That side, sorry, just getting my left and right orientated. So questions and comments will pop up in the little chat box right there, so we can keep a nice conversation going. In the meantime, do drop your name, drop where you're from, and I'll give you a bit of a shout out from my end. And we are joined by Andrew Basson. Thank you for joining yet again. There you go, finished my stream, and here we go for this one. Excited to see you. As am I. So I think, without further ado, let's bring our guest in. Hello there, Zanele. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastically well. Thank you for asking. What did you get up to today?
Oh, your sound is a little bit. I can't hear you well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Test, test, 1, 2. The sound okay?
It's good now.
All right, good. So what did you get up to today?
A lot. I had a studio shoot, a
Good.
baby and family shoot. What else did I do? I don't remember. The day went so fast.
How did the
Yeah.
shoot go? So what did you do? Tell us a little bit
Um,
about the shoot.
it was a 1-year-old shoot with her
Mm-hmm.
mom and sisters. It was a bit tricky because one thing about me, I don't really like studio shoots because I
Mm-hmm.
never know where
Interesting.
to put my lighting right. So that was a bit of a challenge, but eventually we got it right. I
Okay, well,
hate
that's good news.
shadows. I hate
You
shadows.
don't like
So there
shadows,
was a
okay?
lot of shadows in the images. So I was just trying so hard to maneuver that, but eventually I got it right.
Yeah, don't be afraid of shadows. Shadows always play a part in adding a bit of shape and dimension and character. It's difficult to manage, obviously, but
Mm.
once you get into the studio side of things, it will just become second nature. So, by the sounds of it, you like shooting outdoors. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I do. I feel like nature is the perfect canvas. You can
Mm,
literally paint
absolutely.
anything you want. It helps. There's a lot of brown, there's a lot of green, there's a lot of yellow, there's a lot of color.
Mm,
And whenever I'm just faced with a white box, I can't really create from that. There's nothing much to create from that.
mm,
And it's hard to get creative with people who know what they want. Clients want what they want. You can't put in a splash of red in that white backdrop.
mm.
So it's a bit challenging. I do love outdoors, and I feel like Mother Nature is honestly the best storyteller. We just have to use that in our advantage.
Well, I love that. Mother Nature is
Yeah,
the best storyteller, and it's certainly something that we can do as photographers is to incorporate her story into our images as well. As you said, it
exactly.
makes a perfect canvas as well, and gives your clients, your models, also something to interact with. Having the environment around them and working that into the images, the themes, the style, etc. Everything just comes together at the end.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of which, let's talk about your photographic career. That's a question I
hmm
normally start off with. Tell us how you got into it. What propelled you into the world of photography? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so unofficially, when I was 12, my mom and I and my sister, we went to a holiday in Jeffreys Bay. My mom was a nanny, so we went with the family to Jeffreys Bay for a holiday. And when we got there, she gave me this, I think it was a Kodak. You
Mm.
see the small point and shoot ones? And she
Yeah.
gave me that, and she was like, "This is your job. So all you have to do is
Nice.
just document everything." So 12-year-old me went on a shooting spree. I was literally trigger happy. I just took pictures of everything. I still have those pictures today because it's in a film strip. And then I started professionally in 2020 when I lost my job. I was working in corporate. I was working for Edcon Limited. And unfortunately, it got liquidated. We all lost our jobs. And I think I was going through a little bit of a depressive episode. And therefore, I bought a camera and I love taking pictures of birds. So I bought a camera just to take pictures of birds.
Mm.
And I started posting it on my Facebook. People saw that and they started DMing me, asking me if I do it professionally. And at that point, it was primarily for healing, and I
Mm.
was using it as for meditation. And then I didn't know that I could make money from it. I didn't want to make money from it. I wanted it to be a way of storytelling and a healing process for
Mm-hmm.
me. But when people around me started asking me questions about how much do I charge because I'm taking good pictures, and honestly, I've seen those pictures, they were lying. They were lying. Those pictures are horrible. But that's how I started. So 2020, 2019 December, I was booked for year-end function. This was my first gig. I charged them a lot of money and they gave me money and I bought studio equipment and I've been doing it since then.
That's a fantastic story. You know, it's often the case with photographers that we get thrown into the deep end and then learn how to swim. As is the case with you when you
Yeah,
were 12 years old with a Kodak camera. Here, you do this, and we just have to kind of learn as we go along. And also, indeed, photography is a one could talk about a healing factor there as well. Also,
mm,
mingling with people, socializing with people, and bringing creative minds together. It definitely has that healing factor, and I'm glad that you found that in order to deal with your depression, as you said. And photography
yeah,
can certainly bring everything together and guide us and provide a sense of meaning and purpose going forward. And not only that, but to charge money for it, that's the perfect space to be in. So congratulations, and I think a
thank
pat on the back there is well deserved. So congrats on your story and your beginning, and hoping you
thank
go
you so
from
much.
strength to strength from here. So fantastic news. This is very heartwarming to hear. So well done.
Thank you.
All right. So now talking about your photography, how would you
Mhm.
describe your style of photography? This is always a bit of a tricky area to get into, but how would you define your work?
Okay, so remember I said I love taking pictures of birds? So I thought I was going to be a wildlife photographer until I found out it's so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just opted for portraits and landscapes. With
Mm.
portraits, I specifically love faces, like close-ups, because I feel like there's a lot you can get, a lot of stories you can tell through someone's eyes, through someone's face. And landscapes, they tell a lot of what's happening around where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And before I started at Market Photo Workshop, I was really ignorant with my surroundings. I just wanted to take pretty pictures and that was it. But this year I got into a program. It's called the Legacy Program.
Mm-hmm.
It is 18 photographers from all over South Africa. We got into this program and we were taught how to do documentary photography, how to tell stories, multimedia, and all of that, and how to use creative writing to tell stories as well. I didn't know that writing and pictures and videos and sound all went together into making
Mm.
this one story. And I found out this year, and since then, I have honestly changed as a photographer. I love telling stories. I feel like there's a lot. that is happening on our daily basis. And
Mm.
because we see it every day, we take it for granted. So I'm on a journey to tell people or narrate daily lives through images and probably get people excited about living again. Because I know it's
Mm.
hard. It's hard to be
Mm.
alive in this economy, but
Yeah, it's
I want
terrible.
people to look at my pictures and resonate with
Mm.
how where we come from and where we're going and get that nostalgic feeling. So yeah, I love landscapes now and a little bit
Mm.
of portraits.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So you mentioned the legacy program. That sounds quite intriguing. You know,
It was
integrating
amazing.
storytelling and obviously having a bit of writing background or learning about
Hmm.
writing as well. So what are the big things? You know, just a couple of things that you learned from the legacy programs that helped you integrate storytelling into your photography.
What things did I learn from the Legacy program?
Mm.
First of all, I learned that I, as a photographer, have the power to change the surroundings or the
Mm.
outcomes of my community. I never knew that a camera was that powerful. I
Mm.
never knew that the pictures I take here could impact someone in Johannesburg, could impact someone in Europe, and ultimately it could bring change. And with the latest project that we are doing, the Democracy and Photography Project, the images that we took there were exhibited for the King and Queen of the Netherlands. And we were
Wow.
able to share
Okay.
stories about where we come from. And that's what I've learned, that photography can change the world. Use your
Mm.
camera to tell stories, to paint stories, to bring change into where you stay or where you come from. So that's what I've learned. I've learned to stop being ignorant and start making change for
Mm.
where I am and maybe to better the life of the ones who are coming after me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's quite something, you know, photography changing the world. I think you could put that on a
Honestly.
t-shirt and sell that as merchandise. So that's just a little idea for you. But that's a terrific phrase to go by in life, especially as a photographer, obviously, that your work can inspire and change people's lives. And, you know, that's a little bit of motivation that keeps us going in the morning. So it's perfectly fun, perfectly wonderful that you typify and exemplify that. So again, well done. Well done for inspiring others. So speaking
Oh, my
about
light
memorable
just went
moments,
out. I'm sorry, can I just put my light on? It just went out.
go ahead.
Okay, sure.
So as Zanele is doing that, I see some comments flowing in. So don't worry, they are not ignored. I'll pop them in a wee moment.
Sorry, I'm back.
No worries. Yeah, so if you're still watching, everybody out there, do drop your comments, even if they are just compliments. So I see we have a big crowd going. Yeah, nice amount of people watching.
Hi,
Yeah, so to
everyone.
everybody
I
out
see a
there,
lot of
say
my
hello, drop your
friends.
compliments. Let's keep this conversation going, shall we? All right, so as far as memorable moments are concerned, is there a
Mhm.
moment in your career thus far that has really stood out to you in terms of, you know, shaping your path forward? Like, was that a big moment in your career, and do you want to explain to us why that was?
Okay, I actually just mentioned it. It was the Democracy and Photography
Mm.
Project. My topic was on climate change, specifically water scarcity. So I come from Aliwal North, and we have a river, the Orange River,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the Krai Rivier. So we have two rivers functioning in the town, but we are facing a drought.
Mm.
And I feel like we were not aware that we are facing a drought, and we were expecting the municipality to actively work alone to preserve water. We were so ignorant with saving water and how we use water, and I just wanted people to be active as much as
Mm.
I was, to be active as in terms of water preservation. How sorry, these comments are
No, go
distracting
ahead.
me. Water preservation, how can we teach and educate kids on how to use water
Mm.
responsibly? So that was my topic. And I also managed to highlight that there are families that they don't have clean running water. They have to go far to go fetch water.
Mm.
And it's not nice. because
Mm.
imagine you're a kid, you're 8 years old, you're coming back from school, you have to get home to change, to go fetch water. It's not nice in
Mm.
2023. So those were the elements I was highlighting with this project. And the people from Netherlands, the people from Holland saw my work, and I'm hoping it may not be now, it may not be today, but I'm hoping those pictures live on, and
Mm-hmm.
that we'll have more help. Maybe we can build more water tanks, water
Mm-hmm.
reservoirs, and when the river is flowing again, maybe we'll have enough resources to preserve water. So
Mm.
that was that project was so close to my heart. So that was one of my proudest moments as a photographer.
Oh, well done. Yeah, thank you for bringing attention and awareness to that. To everybody out
Thank
there
you.
watching, Zanele's Instagram link is provided in the comments section. So if you want to keep touch with Zanele and keep up with her work, all the good extra things that she's doing, bringing attention and awareness to all of these pressing issues, then absolutely do follow her work. Support Zanele. The link is there provided in the comments section. So let's get into a couple of comments here. So you can see them in the little chat box here, but I'm just going to highlight a
Yeah.
couple.
I see a lot of my friends here and
Good.
my boyfriend,
It's nice. So which one's the boyfriend?
Daniel McGiddy.
Daniel McGiddy, thank you for joining. Thank you for showing support. All right, so we have Reiki, Z.A. Zanele Lebaka-Tshabalala, heart, heart, heart. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for showing support. Now we have Tabisa here, also heart, heart. Thank
That's
you for
also my
joining.
friend.
Thank
She's
you.
also a photographer,
Oh,
amazing
well done.
one.
Thank you for joining. And we have Donna here. So happy for you, sis. Thank you for the compliments.
Ah.
And obviously, Mr. Boyfriend here, thank you for joining. Congratulations, Zanele. All right,
Yes.
so happy about these comments. Keep them up. But we have a question here in the mix from Andrew.
Okay.
So, which type of outdoor light do you enjoy working with the most? So, do you work with flashes outdoors, or do you just use what Mother Nature provides on the day?
Um, for the past 3 years, I've been using what Mother Nature has provided, but this year I'm honestly trying to use flash. With the last shoot I've had, the metric dance specifically, I used flash, and it was amazing. Like my work elevated. But in studio, it's so hard to use flash because I there's a lot of shadows, and with outdoor it's easy because
Hmm.
there's a lot of light. You see, there's a lot of light surrounding the subject. So I do use a lot of natural light, but I'm learning to use my 80-200. I mean, it's been gathering dust here for the past year. I haven't used it, so I'm glad that I'm finally using it.
Yeah, so thus far your natural light work is exemplary, really. So don't think that you necessarily need to use flash, but obviously for those moments we need a bit of extra light. The 8200 certainly
Yeah.
come into its own right there. So yeah, it's a learning process, but I'm very certain you'll manage eventually. Yeah, just getting to grips with that outdoor flash, but keen to see your work in the near future using that flash as well. But in the meantime, use what Mother Nature provides. You're doing a very, very good job with that.
Thank you so much.
So I have a question, or sorry, a
Hmm.
comment from Lunga here. Please collaborate with me. So I don't know if you know the person, but
Hit
I'm
me on the
certain if you're keen to
DMs.
collaborate, yeah, do the DMs. The Instagram link is provided in the comments. So yeah, get in touch with our guest, and yeah, maybe there are some collaboration opportunities there and thereabouts as well.
I
All right,
would
so let's
like
talk
to
about
do that.
gear. What
Hmm.
camera? So when you started photography
Hmm.
professionally, so not the Kodak when you were 12 years old. So what camera did you use when you started off with,
Yeah.
and what do you have now?
My first camera. So I bought this. What? Remember, I said I got retrenched, and then I bought a camera.
Hmm?
So I also bought a point and shoot. It was a Canon X S450 or something like that. I don't remember it
Mm-hmm.
much. And from there, a friend of mine really saw potential in me, and he literally invested 8K and gave me money to go buy a camera. And I bought a 2000D,
Hmm, nice.
worked the whole year with it. The 2000D, then bought the 70D, which was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Worked so hard with the 70D. Then I finally bought a 70 Mark II. That's what I'm using
Nice.
currently with a 50 mil. and a speed light. That's all I ever used. The 70 Mark II with a 50mm and a speed light. That's my go-to.
All right, so lens choices. You mentioned the 50. Is that your go-to lens? Like, do you have any other preferences here and there, or is it just a case of what works with a particular shoot on a day?
Um, I have a 50 at 24. I don't like to use the others. Those are my go-to. And they light. I walk a lot. I walk to my shoots. I don't have a car yet. So I always pack light.
Makes sense.
Um,
Makes complete sense. Because that
I've used
7D
an
is quite a heavy
85.
one as well.
I've used an 85 and it was so heavy. I have tiny wrists. So I couldn't. The 7D is heavy enough as it is. So for now, I'm just content with the 50. However, I do want a Sigma, an 18 to 35. I've been wanting that lens for forever now. I think this year's the year I have to commit.
All right, so we have a comment here from Drew_Black. Hi, first time joining in for live. Thank you so much for joining. And welcome to the CameraStuff live session. It's awesome to have a female photographer and much respect to your awareness approach. Much needed these days. Gonna hit follow on Insta. Thank you for joining. Thank you
Oh,
for your
thank
comments.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, question from my end again. So, when you started, it was kind of during COVID times as well. So, besides
Yes.
that, what challenges did you face initially on, and how did you overcome those challenges as a photographer?
Okay, so I am from a small town and I'm very stubborn. I never got affected by COVID. I always got warnings from policemen every time they saw me on the streets photographing. They're like, "You're not allowed to be here. You're not allowed to
Oh,
be
that's
here."
not nice.
And my argument would be, if I don't document this, how are we gonna educate the kids about it? These pictures might end up in a textbook. So I always use the smart approach. I photographed a lot. Schools were closed, shops were closed. It was really an awful time. I don't think I would want our kids to experience what we experienced with COVID. But I'm so sad that I lost those pictures. My laptop crashed and I don't
Oh
have any
no,
of the
sorry
past
about
work
that.
from the COVID season. But it honestly never affected me. I kept on working throughout COVID. I only feel COVID effects now because the equipment is so expensive now. Everything is expensive, but the equipment is more expensive post COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's unfortunately the case, not just with the photographic industry, but all round. You know, things are getting quite expensive, and it's difficult just to stay afloat. But you're definitely
Yeah.
managing and inspiring others to just keep going as well. So, again, thank you for uplifting those and coming from the background that you have come from, and obviously dealing with a lot. To be here, to do what you're doing, it is very inspiring. So, again, pat on the back. I'm giving out many pats on the backs today. Yeah, it's very
Thank
inspiring
you so
talking
much.
to you and listening to you and also seeing your work. So, yeah, thank you. Well done. And we're seeing that reflecting in the comments as well. Hi, first time joining this live too. This is a great space here for us photographers. Yeah, so we do this once a week, twice every week. We do some tutorials every now and then as well. So do subscribe to CameraStuff. Yeah, so if you want to hear more about some of our local photographers. And here's a question.
Okay.
Have you ever been criticized for your work, and how did you deal with that?
Sure, I have been, and it was hectic. One thing about me, I always take things to heart. So I remember back when I was starting, I didn't know how to edit very well, and I was I was a trigger happy child with the saturation bar. So
Yeah, I think that's a
a
rite
lot
of
of my
passage. I think
pictures,
we've all been through that.
yeah.
You know, just a little
So a lot of my
edging a
pictures
little bit
was
too far
so
with that
vivid.
saturation.
Exactly, it was too much. So someone said, "You're doing too much. Just if you can't edit, just stop. If you can edit, don't do it." And I took that to heart. And because I took it to heart, I had to learn to edit. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm saying I'm better than this saturation. So yeah, that almost broke my spirit, but no, I kept on. I continued.
Now that's kind of a mean comment. There's
It
positive
was.
criticism and negative criticism, and just to beat down on a person like that and say you shouldn't be editing, there's positive ways about going criticizing someone's work, and I think this is
Mm,
something we need to learn here in the South African industry is that yes, criticism is welcome, but we kind of need to select our words a little bit carefully. Going about it, mentoring people in the right way to build up the industry, people from the ground up, with inspiring, helpful words. A bit of tough love every now and then, obviously, but yeah, just need
mm.
to choose our words a little bit carefully and to get involved as far as talking about photography is concerned as well. Yeah, so it's something that we have spoken about here on these sessions quite in depth. Talking about post processing, how important do you think that is as far as the entire process is concerned?
Um, if I could, I would skip that process, honestly. It's exhausting.
Can
It's
be, yes.
exhausting because you could see the image on your camera on that small little screen and it looks amazing. And then you put it on the bigger screen and you see a lot of mistakes. And one thing about me is that I am a blind photographer. Honestly, the irony is not lost on me. I am blind. I have my glasses. I never wear them to shoots. And so because I'm blind, I never check my viewpoints. I never check, I don't have strong attention to detail. And it makes it harder for me because I have to fix everything in post. I don't enjoy post. It's not nice there. I only
Right.
enjoy the environmental pictures that I take because it's a preset. I have a preset that I like specifically for documentary images. So with professional work, yo, I don't like it. Unfortunately, I have to do it. So the process for me is longer. It takes forever. I have a 1 to 5 working day policy.
Mhm.
I always start editing on the third day because I have to pump myself up.
Mhm. Now, post processing, unfortunately, is part of the beast in a manner of speaking. Just to get the editing work out there. Not
Yeah.
only that, but no, it's separating the bad images from the good images as well, culling the
Mm.
bad images, organizing everything, resizing them, managing them for social media or print. It's part of the process, I suppose. It's a bit of a beast to handle, but it's unfortunately the case with photographers, unless you can outsource it. So I don't know, maybe that's an opportunity for you to explore in the near future. Maybe you could just
I
offhand this to
want
somebody
to.
else and say, yeah, that's your baby now.
Next year I'm doing that. Next year I'm getting an editor.
Good.
I can't. It's too much.
All right, so a lot of first timers by the looks of it.
That's
So comment
nice. I
here
feel
from
special.
White Love Productions. So hi, first time joining live too. This is a great space. I think I read that one already. Sorry,
Oh, we read that one.
and I've read that one too. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining, Gareth. We have here from John Dream Makaza as well. First time joining live, lack of space for photographers. Thanks, Conrad. Big pleasure. I'm from a small town here in Northern Cape, Springbok, doing photography. It's always nice reaching out to the smaller towns as well. Not all the action
Yeah.
is in
Oh,
either
it's harder
Joburg or
here.
Cape Town or Durban. There's a lot of great talent in the little towns here and there throughout South Africa as well. So, yeah, we try our best here at CameraStuff to shine a light, no pun intended, on on photographers outside of the big cities as well, and the fantastic work that you're doing.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
So, as far as new photographers are concerned,
Mhm.
if you could give out a bit of advice, to the newcomers out there, what would that be?
Um, I wish someone had told me this when I started, but yeah, I'm here now. So I think if you want to be a photographer, don't start off doing it for money. Do it as a passion. That will lead the money. That will lead you
Mm,
to the money. Do it as a
yes.
passion. Find out what you like more. Do you like telling stories using people? Do you like telling stories using landscapes? Do you like animals? Just choose the kind of photography you want to do. That way, that will guide you to the kind of gear that you have to get. But else, love it, love your job. Like, don't do it for money, man. It's not nice. Money takes the fun out of it, because now it becomes business oriented, and it's not nice, because now you have to think, I have to buy this, I have to buy that, I have to buy that. Now your whole thing is gonna be just about gear, and you won't have the love for it. You just show up, you get money, you leave. Waste the heart in it. So don't do it for money, don't do it for the hype. Do it because it comes from here. And also be the kind of photographer that, as much as we tell social media stories, we have social media images, also have a little impact in the work that you do. Also, maybe if you can't be a documentary photographer, then groom someone, like groom a child who you see is interested in media studies, but let your art have an impact in where you are, in where you stay. So yeah, that's my advice, honestly.
Yeah, so many photographers I've spoken to have said exactly the same thing. Yeah, so if you follow the passion, follow where your heart and soul, as cheesy as that may sound, if you follow that, eventually that will turn into a money maker down the pipeline.
Exactly.
Rest assured, because when you're passionate about something that's going to reflect in your work, and obviously your clients, be audiences out there, be it on social media or people that pay your bills in a manner of speaking, they'll see that passion reflect in your work as well. So if your
Yeah.
heart and soul, etc., are in the right place, that's going to reflect in your work, and it's going to resonate with the right audiences as well. Now, if you chase for money just from the ground up, from straight off the bat, may lead you into this bit of a black hole, as you described, where it
No,
becomes
it
this
won't work if you do it for
vicious
money.
cycle where you just can't be happy. It's about trying to find money, and trying
Yeah,
to be very, very business orientated. As good advice as business may be, and if you get into that black hole, and the passion with it dies as well, it's difficult to get out of that hole.
it is. It honestly is.
All right. So,
Fun fact,
just as
I
a
don't know if
hit,
you knew this.
go ahead.
I'm saying fun fact. So there was a post that came out from CameraStuff last month. You guys are looking for a photographer to hire. So
Uh
yeah,
huh.
and then I applied, and there was that quiz online. Like, it's like 50 questions, or I don't know if it was a quiz
Oh gosh, yeah,
or
I
a
remember that
survey or something.
questionnaire. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sure. Not my phone dying on me when I was on maybe question 25, and there was like
Oh
25 more
no.
questions. And I
Oh,
did
sorry about
submitted
that.
that half questionnaire. I was like, oh my God, I actually wanted this.
Gosh,
But
if we open a branch in
okay.
East London, we'll definitely consider.
Thank you.
Yeah, so one day camera stuff will conquer not only South Africa but for world. So as we branch out to the different cities, we'll definitely, especially in East London,
And
we'll
when it
definitely
goes
consider.
abroad, please take me with.
Gosh, yeah, why not? Where would you like to go? I think that would be an interesting question. Like, what is
um,
your
Let
big
me
five
see.
in terms of shoot locations? Like, where would you like to travel to, and of what would you like to take photos
It's
of?
definitely here in Africa. I would like to go to Nigeria. I've seen this. They have a lot of culture. There's a lot of culture in Nigeria. I'd like to go to Egypt as well, not only for the pyramids. I've never seen Egyptian people. I don't know how they look like. So I'd like to have a series of portraits, just Egyptian people. And my number one goal would be to meet the Khoi people. If I could meet the Khoi people. I don't know if they're still here in South Africa or they're somewhere in Botswana. If I could if I could meet the Khoi people, I think as a creative, as a photographer, I would be the happiest. I'd probably even resign after that.
Well, I do hope those dreams come true in the near future. But
Thank
what else
you.
is in the pipeline? Like, what do you have for next
hmm
year in the pipeline, in the next 2 years? Like, what are your short term and long term goals?
Let's see. Short term, I have this. I was approached to be a facilitator to teach basic photography to kids.
Good.
So that is happening this month in Tsikama. I would like to continue with that. Hopefully, I can come back home and work with the Department of Sports and have an after class special or a setup where kids can come and learn about photography, learn about art, creative writing, how to create a podcast, how to manage your content. I would like to do. I feel like media studies or art is so underrated,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like kids to have an option to either be an artist or just be a professional, but that option should be there. That option should be valuable to the kids, because as a kid I wanted to be an investigative journalist, and my
Mm-hmm.
family were like, nope, you're gonna get shot, you're gonna die. So I was never given the space to be a creative.
Mm.
Now that I'm doing it, I feel like a kid again. So I'd like this energy to pass on to other kids.
Mm.
And that's what I would like to do in the near future. Have a young program where kids can come through and just learn about media, photography, videography, creative writing. I want to create a lot of artists to come out of
Mm-hmm.
from this town.
I think definitely the artistic, creative, cultural approach to society is definitely a very, very important one. I remember when I was 12, 13, I had a choice between two high schools, one that taught art and one that taught electrical engineering. I chose electrical
Mhm.
engineering instead. And looking
Oh,
back, that's one of my biggest regrets. You know, if I could
oh, I'm so
study
sorry.
art, go back in time, use a little time machine, I probably would have gone the artistic approach instead. But picked it up later, mind you. But
I'm so
definitely just on your
sorry.
point, to get aspiring artists, allowing
Mm,
them to flourish and to express themselves fully and to talk about it and not to be shy about it, to create spaces
exactly.
for these children. That's excellent news, and we need to do a lot more. Just to get those creative minds, the freedom to get their minds out there. Because as with a lot of creative people, we have busy minds. And this is our biggest
Mm,
strength and our biggest weakness. Having these busy minds, but you need the right
yeah.
space to exercise these busy minds, and for you to create such spaces, it's wonderful. So if you want to keep in touch with that, now speaking to the audience, do make sure to
Mhm.
follow our guest. By the sounds of it, she has a lot in the pipeline. I don't know if you covered what you have planned long term.
Oh, long term. Oh, yes. Long term, I want to be an art curator. So,
Mm.
and my end game is to own my own gallery
Mm-hmm.
so that people can come and exhibit, even if I make money from it or not. But I want to create a space for artists. I feel like a broken record, but I want to advocate for artists. I want
Mm.
to create a space for artists. So I would like to be an art curator and own a gallery where artists are free to be themselves and have mixed media, not just photography, but
Mm.
visual painting. We can have sculptures. I just want to create a
Mm.
space for artists to be artists. So that's my long term. Probably should have go back to school, but yeah, with my ADHD, it's so hard to focus. I probably deregistered 5 times. I
Mm-hmm.
want to go back to school. I really do, because I want to be able to articulate art in the way that
Mm.
would make sense to me and the people around me, and be able to create a space and be able to educate people about art. So long term is to go to school, study art,
Mm-hmm.
major probably in photography and visual, and yeah, own a gallery and a dark room. I still want to be, because
Mm.
I started photography thinking I'm gonna be a film photographer and have my
Mm-hmm.
own dark room. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened. So I do hope I'll finally have my dark room and my gallery. That's
Mm.
all. That's long term for me. That's all I want. That's my
Mm.
retirement plan.
Hopefully that comes true. Couple of
Thank you
questions
so
here.
much.
Well, comment here from Andrew. Also, a pro tip for additional funding and helping for disadvantaged children and communities, check out the Alma Foundation. They may be able to give you a hand with funding to help things move really nice. All right, so maybe you and
Oh,
Andrew can
that's
get in
really,
touch
really
after the
beautiful.
fact. Yeah, Andrew does a lot of good work as well. So maybe the two of you, I can link you two together at
Please,
some
Andrew, I
point.
have him on my
Can introduce
Facebook.
you.
Please send
Okay.
me a link on my DMs.
Do that, Andrew.
And
He
Andrew
does some great
actually was
stuff
one
for
of
them.
the people who helped me a lot when I was coming up with. I would always question him, like, help
Mm.
me. How do I do this? How do I do that? Andrew was always there to help. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, Andrew is a good man. Yeah, he told me that he stays awake till 5 a.m. in the morning answering all of these questions.
What?
So it's just great work, Andrew. If you're still watching, very commendable. Thank you. Seeing your work here being flourished as well. So answering
Thank
just some questions here and there in a positive manner can just help
you.
photographers get on the right track and to inspire people out there. So not only you but Zanele here, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
So from Jason here, great platform for photographers to learn. Thanks, Conrad. Big pleasure. Zanele, you can come meet the Khoisan people in Platfontein, just outside Kimberley in the Northern Cape. Okay, so we have a destination.
So they are in South Africa.
Perfect. All
Thank you
right,
for that.
so we need to beat load shedding on your end. So that's going to
Oh,
happen 9
yes.
o'clock. So normally we have
Mm-hmm.
like a little slideshow presentation, but we don't have time for that. So we have room for a couple of questions from the audience. So if you're still watching, do drop those questions immediately right now. Right now, drop them. Type those questions in. We only have about 15 minutes. From my end, two
Mm-hmm.
questions. What photographers and local artists have inspired you?
Okay. Um, I have to say TC Maila.
Mm-hmm.
He is a visual storyteller. He uses his photography to show us. He has this title say he has this title that says "See What I Saw,"
Mm-hmm.
and through that page, you feel like you're traveling with him to these spaces.
Mm.
He is honestly one of the people who have inspired me to be a storyteller. Another person would be, he has passed away. Um, Shucks, his name is escaping me now. That is Santu Mufukeng. I got to learn about him through Market Photo. He was one of apartheid. Oh, there goes my light. He was one of apartheid photographers, and he did very good work.
Mm.
So yeah, he's one of the people that I look up to. And who else? I don't know. I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think I know any female photographers, and that should change. That
It
should
should, yeah.
change. But yeah, for now, those are the two gentlemen that do inspire my work.
All right, so
What was
last
the
question I
second one?
have. So, just a bit of food for thought. You know, this is a very big topic. This is a very big talking point, and I think it takes a lifetime defining the following topic. But I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
ask you, how would you define being an artist? What is that exactly, and how would you define art just in general?
Sure. Let me tell you something about art. Art, art feels like a very painful relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a roller coaster ride. Cause for me personally, I cannot create when I'm very happy, and I'm in a very happy space right now. I can't create work because I'm too happy. Most of my old work comes from my hurt and how I deal with it and how I
Mm.
use art to heal. So art is very hard. Art is so emotional. It's a spiritual thing. You feel it in your soul when you go to sleep, and on those sad days, that's when it comes to you. That's when ideas come to you. And when you're happy, you're so happy that the space does not allow you to create. So art for me is a roller coaster ride, a very painful
Mm-hmm.
relationship that I have with it. And I'm sad that I'm happy because now I can't create. I have two girls, they are my favorite girls to photograph. I think I've canceled shoots for the past 3 months because I just can't get out of. I'm too happy to create, and
Mm.
it's stupid, but I don't know how to explain it. I've tried to come out of that bubble and create, but it's so hard. It's so hard for me to create when I'm happy.
Mm, that's so interesting. Now, I always thought about
Yeah.
art, and I thought about this the other day. You can imagine a
Hmm.
little circle, and everything within that circle represents familiarity, safety, complacency, being comfortable with what you're doing, and now that you mentioned happiness as well. So everything within that circle represents all of that. And I think art kind of challenges the boundaries to that and wants to
Mm.
make the circle bigger or at least go outside of the circle, where you explore chaos, uncertainty, where you explore things that are not predictable. I think kind of art opens the doors to that, where you learn new things about yourself, and
True.
it's a scary place to get into.
It
As you
is.
mentioned, being in a happy space at the moment, but not feeling creative. Maybe at the same time, you feel a little bit
Yeah.
afraid leaving that happiness, but that's kind of the domain of art. It takes us outside of that doorway into the world of chaos, the unknown, the realm of unpredictability. Yeah, and it doesn't need to be political or disturbing or anything of the sort. It may discover something beautiful as
Yeah.
well. So what you mentioned about landscapes, showing the beauty of the world and reminding everybody out there that there's sunlight out there, in a dark, otherwise dark world. And I think art can also invigorate that too. So it's not just all doom and gloom, obviously, with what you mentioned about not being or
Yeah.
wanting not to be happy anymore, so you can be creative, but there's also beauty out there to be fun, and I think art can shake that up as well.
That's very true. And to add on what you said, about the world being in this bubble and the art
Mm,
trying to penetrate, I feel like art is what the world is in this frame, and art is what's outside the frame looking in.
mm,
The art is
mm,
challenging
yes.
norms. And
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I feel I wish people could look at art and see it for what it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
a healing tool.
It is.
It's a healing tool.
Now, it's a scary place, but it's a healing place as well. And I think that is the most challenging aspect of it. But as I said, I think this takes a lifetime to truly uncover, to truly unpackage what this all means. There are books this big talking about this topic, so obviously we can't cover all of it just in an
That
hour's
is true.
time, but it's food for thought, as mentioned, and I think it can invigorate some people's thinking out there watching as well. How they see themselves in the world as a photographer slash artist as well. So I think that's it from our end. Let's see what Andrew has to say here. In the work, you can see your emotion embeds itself in everything you create and everything that you do. Nothing wrong with that at all. Art comes and art goes. Don't force it. And I think that's a good point there as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so I think that's that. So thank you
Thank
from
you
my
so
side.
much for having
This
me.
was a
This was
terrific
great.
interview. So everybody who may have joined late, this is going to be available on YouTube. So you can watch from the beginning again. You can catch up at any time. So it's going to be on YouTube forever. Do subscribe to CameraStuff's YouTube channel for future live sessions as well. As mentioned, we look into the industry. We find some interesting people to talk to. We do this once a week or twice a week, depending on the available time I have here. But yeah, do subscribe and yeah, do check out our Facebook and YouTube feeds for what we have planned in the future. So thank you so much for joining us, Zanele. This was a fantastic interview, very inspiring. To everybody out there watching, do follow our guest. I don't know if you have any final thoughts or final things to say.
Um, Create for you and and share your art with the world. Please create and share the art with the world. We want to see it. We want to get inspired.
Mm, absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. Tata. That's going to be a good night from us. Anyway, on
Bye.
behalf of
Thank you
Camera
so
Stuff,
much.
cheerios. Bye bye.
Bye.